Hey everybody! Today is part 4 of our Novice Fisherman's Guide to the Florida Keys. In today's video, we're going to go over knots. Now I've pre-selected 3 different types of knots that will cover all of our basic needs. The good thing about these knots that I've chosen are 1, they're easy to learn, 2, they're easy to tie, so if you're out in not the best conditions, you can still do them fairly easily. And 3, once you learn them, you'll utilize these knots throughout your fishing career because they're even knots that I still use now. The 3 knots that I'm going to show you are the Clinch Knot, also known as the Cinch Knot or Fisherman's Knot. 2 is the Palomar Knot, and 3 is the Uni Knot. The first knot we're going to tie is the good old Clinch Knot or Fisherman's Knot. Basically, you're going to take your hook in one hand, tagline in the other, insert the tagline through the eye of the hook, and you're going to pull it through and give yourself a good 6 to 8 inches of line to work with. Utilize your thumb and forefinger and pinch the line just ahead of the eye of the hook. And then you're going to wrap the tagline around the main line 4 to 5 times. Then you're going to take that tagline and you're going to release your thumb and forefinger, which is going to leave this kind of a slack opening there, which will make it easier to insert that tagline. Then you can grasp the tagline there, and that's basically the uncinched knot there. Then you're going to slowly pull on the main line and the tagline, and that's going to slowly cinch that knot up to the eye of the hook. And it's going to be nice and neat and compact there. Now, one of the issues that a lot of people have with this knot is that it can slip. But it's not a problem with the knot, it's that it's not set correctly. And what I mean by that is a lot of times people will just snug it up like that, trim off the tagline very close to the knot, and then what happens is because that knot is not set, it has a tendency when it does tighten up to pull that tagline into itself until it really settles. So what you want to do is before you cut that tagline is you want to give it a good snug pull to make sure that knot is set and it's not going to move anymore. Then you can cut the tagline. Another thing you could do is make sure you don't necessarily need to cut it right against the knot, especially on the hooks because there's issues with that slippage. Give yourself a good 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of tagline trim there. And then if this knot, after a lot of pulling, maybe tightens up even more, it gives a little bit of flexibility before that tagline gets sucked all the way in through the knot and becomes loose. But that there is the Clinch Knot. For the second knot, we're going to utilize the Palomar. The way you tie that knot, just take the hook in one hand, tagline in the other, run the tagline through the eye of the hook, give yourself a good foot or so of slack line through the eye of the hook. Then you're going to come back around and you're just going to put that tagline right back in the way it came through that eye of that hook. And now that basically that hook is dangling on just a doubled up line. Okay? Then what we're going to do is just a basic overhand knot, just like you would if you're tying your shoe. Just go around and just do a basic overhand knot, just like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to just kind of snug it down lightly, and then you're going to take that loop side of it and you're going to place that around the hook and pull that through. And what we're going to want to do is try to keep the knot just nice and consistently away from the eye of the hook because you don't want it to latch around the eye of the hook. Then all we have to do is start snugging it up. You can pull the main line a bit, pull the tagline a bit, and just kind of work that knot as it gets closer and closer there. Then it bunch it up, just make sure it's not over itself. Give it a good pull, pull the main line, pull the tag end, and there, we're all set. Now this is an excellent knot, doesn't slip, no issues with it, nice, compact, as you saw, very easy to tie. Then we just trim our tagline. And that's the Palomar knot. The third knot that we're going to tie is the Uni knot. The good thing about the Uni Knot is that it is the most practical knot that is out there. You could actually just learn how to do the Uni Knot and it will cover all of your needs in regards to fishing. So the way you tie the Uni Knot is, one, you're just going to take the tag line, go through the hook, give yourself a good 10 to 12 inches of slack line there. Okay. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to bring it back around about halfway to create a loop. Okay, so it's doubled up, still up here, and then you've created a loop. And then what we're going to do with that loop is that we are going to run this tag line around this double line 4 to 5 times. Just basically weave it around it through the circle that we created there, the loop. So you're just going to pinch that off there, and just going to go around and through the hole. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've woven it around that doubled up line 4 times, going through this loop. Then you can hold the tag line and the hook, and then you can start slowly tensioning it up. Just cinch it up there till it's snug. You don't need to clamp down on it yet, because what's going to happen is that knot is now going to slide up to the eye of the hook by pulling the main line. And we're just going to slowly pull that, and you're going to see that it's going to butt up against that eye of the hook, and then by pulling on the main line, that's going to cinch it up there, so it's tight. Then we're going to go back and pull the tag line, and that's going to shrink this knot and tighten that knot up. So tighten it up, created a little bit of a slack there, so now that we could pull the main line, and that's going to butt it against the eye of the hook, and that is the Uni Knot. Trim there, and there you go. Now that we've learned our knots, we can go over the 3 different rigs that we're going to be utilizing for our fun fishing. The first one is just the most basic, and that's all it is just tying a hook to the end of the line. Okay, so we can either just use a regular hook or even one of the yellowtail snapper jigs. Not much more complicated than that. The second one will be what's called a knocker rig. Not too much difference than the basic rig. The only difference is that we're going to add a egg sinker to the line before that we tie the hook on. And that'll allow that weight to go right up against the knot and the hook. That'll make it easier for casting, as well as taking the bait straight to the bottom. But what this knocker rig allows is, because the weight is not tied to anything, that bait can be pulled by that fish and it will never know that there's an actual weight on the line. Okay. Third, we've got what's called a Carolina rig, and it's basically just a combination of the two. So it's realistically just like a knocker rig, except that it uses a predetermined amount of line to keep the hook and bait away from the weight. So in this instance, it goes from the hook, then you have a predetermined amount of line going to a swivel, and then you've got your main line where you have a egg sinker on it, and that's tied to the other end of the swivel. So it works the same way as a knocker rig, except that you have this predetermined length. So that could be 25-foot length, it could be 3 inches. It just, you know how long that distance away that bait will be from that weight. But yet again, if that fish picks up that bait, it'll never know that there's actually a weight on there because of that egg sinker. Now in regards to the knots, pretty much all the knots can be utilized to tie all 3 of these rigs, especially the hooks. About the only one that won't work would be the Palomar knot on the swivels, because the way you tie that knot has to go around the end position, so it's really not functional with that. But the Uni knots will cover all this, the Clinch knots will work, and most of the time I just use the Palomar knot for hooks anyways. But again, like I said, just learn one of those knots and it'll pretty much cover you on all these 3 rigs. So anyways, thanks for watching the video and look forward to the next one coming soon. Bye.